Greece has been drawing travelers for over 2,000 years, and the more time you spend here, the easier it is to understand why. Ancient ruins that stop you in your tracks, islands that look like they were designed for a postcard, and food that makes you want to cancel your flight home. And most people don't realize just how much there is beyond what they already know. Welcome to Optimized Travel Destinations. My name is Laura, and I am part of the OptimizedTravel.com team. We help travelers plan amazing trips through our concierge service, and our team has worked together to list the absolute best places Greece has to offer. These are the top 11 places to visit in Greece. I'm counting down from 11 to 1, and if you think you know what's at the top, you might be wrong. Let's get started. Number 11, Delphi. Delphi is one of those places that makes you go quiet when you arrive, which is genuinely rare for a major tourist site. It's about 2.5 hours northwest of Athens by road, sitting high on the slopes of Mount Parnassus. As you climb, you start to understand why the ancient Greeks believed this was the center of the world. It feels chosen, set apart from everything below. What you're walking through is a sanctuary built into the mountainside with temples, a theater, and a stadium unfolding level by level above you. From up there, the view sweeps down through a valley of silver olive trees all the way to where the sea glints at the horizon, and it's one of those views that genuinely stays with you. The museum right next to the site is worth 2 hours of your time on its own. There's a bronze statue there, the Heliokos, that stops most people in their tracks. I recommend staying overnight in Delphi town so you can get to the gate when it opens at 8 a.m., well before the coach tours arrive. The sight in that first hour of the morning, with mist in the valley and almost nobody else there, is a completely different experience. Spring and autumn are ideal for temperature and light. The site is open year-round, but go early regardless of when you visit. The midday heat on the exposed hillside can be intense in summer. Number 10, Nafplio. There is a town on the mainland that almost everyone who visits immediately wants to move to, and Nafplio is it. Greece's former capital, small and walkable, and beautiful in a way that feels almost unfair. It's on the northeastern Peloponnese, about 145 kilometers southwest of Athens by road. Most people do it as a day trip from Athens, but that's not enough. You need at least one night here to get it properly. The old town is a maze of mansions, narrow lanes, and Venetian fountains you stumble across around corners. Out in the harbor sits the Bortzi, a small stone island fortress, and every photo you take from the waterfront has it sitting right there in the background. Then, above everything, is the Peloponnese fortress, which most people reach by road. The view from the top is the best panorama of any Greek mainland town. Nafplio is also an excellent base for the wider area. Mycenae is 30 minutes north, and Epidaurus, with its astonishing ancient theater, is 30 minutes east. My favorite thing about Nafplio is arriving at the waterfront just before sunset, when the Bortzi is catching the last light and the cafes are just filling up. It makes you want to extend your stay immediately. 2 nights work well, one for the town and Peloponnese, one for day trips, and midweek is noticeably quieter. The Epidaurus Summer Festival brings live ancient drama performances in the original theater, so book months ahead if that's on your list. Number 9, Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki has been making the argument for years that it's actually the better Greek city, and the food scene alone is enough to take that seriously. It's Greece's second city, sitting on a bay called the Thermaic Gulf, about 500 kilometers north of Athens, reachable by a short domestic flight or a 4.5-hour express train. It feels very different from the capital, looser, younger, more lived in, and with a cultural life that punches well above what most visitors expect. The city has layers of history visible everywhere you walk, from Byzantine churches and mosaics most of the world hasn't heard of, to the old city walls still largely intact. But what actually makes people love Thessaloniki is the atmosphere. the Laodika district where the restaurants and bars are packed in tight, the Modiano-covered market that has been feeding the city since the 1930s, and the bogatsa, a warm, flaky pastry eaten for breakfast at dedicated shops that open at 6 in the morning and are already busy by 7. It's one of those things you don't expect to care about before you arrive and can't stop thinking about afterward. I recommend arriving hungry and planning your day around what you'll eat at each point. Thessaloniki rewards that approach more than almost anywhere else in Greece. It works in any season, warm and lively in summer, cool and quiet in winter, with the Byzantine monuments most accessible in the off-peak months. Carnival season in February and March, known as Appelkreis, is celebrated here more enthusiastically than almost anywhere else in the country. Number 8. Zakynthos. Zakynthos, also called Zante, has one of the most photographed beaches in Europe, a protected sea turtle nesting ground, and a reputation for party tourism that tends to overshadow both. Most people who write it off as a resort island have only ever seen the southern strip. It's in the Ionian Sea off the western coast, reachable by direct flights from most European cities or a short ferry crossing from the Peloponnese. Navaio Beach, the shipwreck beach, is only accessible by boat and sits inside a cove with 200-meter white limestone cliffs on 3 sides and a rusting shipwreck on the sand. The watercolor is one of those things that photographs somehow undersell, so get there early before the day boats pile in. On the northern tip of the island, the blue caves require a small boat to enter, and the way light refracts through the cave openings into the water below is genuinely worth going out of your way for. The south of the island around Lagana's Bay is protected sea turtle nesting ground. The turtles come in from May through August, and I highly recommend the guided wildlife tours. My favorite part of Zakynthos is the northern coast around Cape Skinari. Quiet, no resort strip, the blue caves right there, and a ferry to Kefalonia leaving from the Cape. It feels like an entirely different island from the south. Visit in May, June, or September for warm water and manageable crowds. July and August around Sea Levi and Laganas get very busy. Number 7. Meteora. Meteora means suspended in the air in Greek, and that's not a metaphor, it's a physical description. There are 6 working monasteries sitting on top of sandstone rock towers up to 400 meters tall, and you really do have to see it to properly register that it's real. It's in central Greece, near the town of Kalimbaka, about 350 kilometers northwest of Athens by road or by train. Most people visit as a day trip from Athens, which is possible, but genuinely sells it short. The monasteries are active communities and they are open to visitors in the mornings. The frescoes inside are extraordinary, but the reason most people make the trip is the landscape itself. 6 communities perched on these impossible vertical rock formations, with the plain of Thessaly stretching out below unlike anything else in Europe. Each monastery has its own opening schedule and closing day, so plan your route before you go. I recommend arriving at sunrise before the coaches from Athens and Thessaloniki pull in. The rock formations in that early morning light, with mist filling the valley below, show Meteora at its most otherworldly. To do that, you need to be in Kalimbaka the night before, and it's completely worth it. Covered shoulders and knees are required for entry, and skirts are available to borrow at most entrances, so keep that in mind. The monasteries are great to visit year-round. Number 6. Rhodes. Rhodes has one of the finest surviving medieval towns in the world, and most visitors are genuinely caught off guard by how intact and alive it still feels. It's at the southeastern edge of the Aegean, with direct flights from across Europe and ferry connections from Athens. Rhodes gets more sunshine than almost any other Mediterranean island, which tells you something about why people have been coming here for hundreds of years. The old town is entirely enclosed within medieval walls, and what's inside is extraordinary. One of the most convincing medieval streetscapes you'll find anywhere in Europe. The Palace of the Grand Masters anchors the northern end. Then, about 50 kilometers south, the village of Lindos sits below an ancient acropolis on a headland above the sea, with white cubic houses below, ancient ruins above, and views across the coastline. If I had to pick one thing to do in Rhodes, it would be the old town at 6 in the morning before any other tourist is awake. Cobblestones still damp, light low and golden on the walls, the whole medieval city completely yours for an hour. It is the best version of Rhodes, which works as a year-round destination, though the main season runs May through October. The West Coast beaches catch the prevailing wind and suit water sports. The East Coast around Lindos is calmer and better for swimming. Number 5. The Peloponnese. The Peloponnese is where Greece keeps its deepest history, and the remarkable thing is that most visitors skip it entirely, which means those who do go find themselves at places like Olympia and Mykonos almost completely alone. It connects to mainland Greece at Corinth, and you genuinely need to hire a car to do it properly. The sites are spread across a large peninsula, and public transport between them is slow. I recommend allowing at least 4 days. Ancient Olympia is where the original games were held for over 1,000 years, and you can still run on the original track. Mycenae has the Lion Gate, a massive Bronze Age stone entrance that is somehow still standing, and a nearby beehive tomb that will rearrange your sense of how old human ambition actually is. Mykonos is a Byzantine ghost city clinging to a hillside above Sparta, abandoned in the 1400s and preserved by the mountain climate. Walking through it feels more like exploring than sightseeing. Then there's the Mani Peninsula at the southern tip, with tower houses built for inter-family feuds, villages that resisted every occupier for centuries, and coastal scenery that feels completely unlike the rest of Greece. Honestly, the Peloponnese is the part of Greece most visitors pass up. Those who make the effort often say it ends up being the highlight of the trip. Spring and autumn are the best seasons. The summer heat at the inland sites can be serious, so visit early in the day and pace yourself. Number 4. Mykonos. Mykonos has a reputation that sometimes makes people hesitant to visit, but then they arrive and find one of the most beautiful small towns in the Aegean sitting beneath it all. Both things coexist perfectly well. It's in the Cyclades, about 4 hours from Athens by fast ferry, or 45 minutes from Santorini by hydrofoil, with direct international flights in summer. The Hora, the main town, was intentionally built as a maze to confuse pirates, and it still works. Even people who have been there multiple times get genuinely lost in the lanes, which creates this great feeling of actually discovering things rather than following a map. Little Venice earns its sunset reputation completely, with old sea captains' houses and their balconies literally overhanging the water. The 5 windmills on the hill above it are the island's skyline, and they still look better in person than in any photograph. 2 kilometers offshore is Delos, a sacred island you can only reach by boat, with one of the most extensive ancient sites in the Aegean and almost no tourist infrastructure, just the ruins and the sea. I actually think Delos is the real highlight of a Mykonos visit, more than any beach or bar. A half day among ruins of what was once one of the most important places in the ancient world, with the ferry schedule as your only constraint, is a completely different experience from anything else on the island. Visit in May, June, or September. July and August are expensive and crowded. That said, October is genuinely underrated. Warm water, lower prices, and the hurrah to yourself. Number 3. Athens. Athens has 5,000 years of continuous habitation and produces excellent coffee, and both genuinely matter to the experience. It's the country's main entry point, served by Eleftherios Venizelos Airport with connections to most major cities worldwide. A lot of people treat it as a quick layover before the islands, and that's the wrong approach. The Acropolis, and particularly the Parthenon, genuinely justifies all the fuss. Go at 8 a.m. when it opens, before the heat and tour groups arrive. The Acropolis Museum at the base of the hill displays the original frieze sculptures aligned with the Parthenon itself, visible through the glass behind them, one of the smartest museum designs in Europe. The ancient agora below the hill is far less visited and just as worth your time. After the ruins, get lost in monasteries and Syri for street food, a Sunday flea market, and good coffee. Exarchia is the neighborhood that gives Athens its contemporary edge. Street art, political energy, a Saturday's farmer market, and some of the best cafes in the city. My favorite thing about Athens is a rooftop bar in the evening with the lit Acropolis directly behind you. The city earns its mythology every single night. It's best to visit from April through June and September through October. Summer is very hot, but lively in the evenings. You should book timed entry to the Acropolis well in advance from April onward because it sells out. Number 2. Crete. Crete is not just the largest Greek island. It functions like a country within a country, with its own food, own character, and a landscape that shifts dramatically from the coast to the mountains. There's enough to do that a week here barely scratches the surface. It stretches 260 kilometers east to west across the southern Aegean and is served by direct international flights into both Heraklion and Hania airports year-round. For a first visit, base yourself in Hania. The western half of the island is the most varied and the most scenic. Near Heraklion, the Minoan Palace of Knossos is partially reconstructed and gives you a vivid sense of scale, a multi-story palace that predates most of what we consider ancient Greece. In the west, the Samaria Gorge is a 16-kilometer walk through a canyon that narrows to barely 4 meters at the Iron Gates. It's physically demanding but unforgettable. And at the far southwest corner, Peloponnese has sand colored a pale pink from crushed shells. It looks made up, and it isn't. The food here genuinely deserves its own trip. Dakos barley rusks with tomato and fresh cheese, slow-cooked lamb, olive oil that is better than anywhere else in Greece, and raki, offered freely at the end of any meal as a matter of Cretan hospitality. Honestly, Crete rewards coming back. A first trip covers the major sites. A second starts to reveal the mountain villages, the quiet eastern coast, and the food culture that runs through everything here. It's best to visit from April to June and September to October. High summer gets hot and the major sites get crowded, but the island is always worth it. Before I reveal number 1, the place our whole team agreed belongs at the top of the list, I want to take a moment to tell you about why we made this video in the first place. Planning a trip to Greece can be genuinely overwhelming. Between the island ferry schedules, working out which part of the mainland to include, figuring out which Cycladic island actually suits you, and trying not to miss the things most itineraries skip over, it takes real research to get it right. That's exactly what optimized travel was built for. We build itineraries that connect the right places in the right order for your time, so you arrive knowing exactly where you're going and why. Head to optimizetravel.com to find out more or click the link in the description. And now, number 1, Santorini. Every list of Greece ends at Santorini, and every list is right to. But what makes it extraordinary is not quite what most people expect when they arrive. Santorini, known in Greek as Thera, is not a conventional island. It's the rim of an ancient volcanic caldera, and the views it's famous for, the cliffs dropping straight to the sea, the blue domes of Ia, the volcanic islands of Nea Kameni sitting in the water below, are all a direct consequence of that geology. Once you understand what you're actually looking at, the whole place looks different. Ia at sunset is one of the most photographed scenes in the world, and it earns the reputation. The Aegean light at dusk on those white walls and blue domes is something photographs don't quite capture. The villages of Pyrgos and Emporio in the island's interior are much less visited and give you a quieter version of Santorini, with stone lanes and Byzantine chapel towers instead of sunset crowds. The volcanic beaches at Parisa and Kalmari are black and red from the lava, unlike any other beach in Greece. The wine is also worth taking seriously. Asatirko grown in the volcanic soil produces a white with a mineral intensity that pairs with local seafood in a way that just makes sense. The Santos wines and the Venesanos wineries are both perched on the caldera edge and worth the visit. If I had to pick one thing, it would be arriving in Fiera by ferry and looking up at the caldera cliffs from the water, seeing the villages on the rim from below. No photograph from the top gives you that perspective, and it's the one that makes the whole place make sense. I recommend visiting in April, May, September, or October. June through August is crowded and expensive, and the island starts to feel like a queue for a photograph rather than a travel experience. Shoulder season visitors get the same views, the same wine, and the Ia sunset with a fraction of the crowd. That said, book accommodation very far in advance for any visit. These are the 11 best places to visit in Greece. From the mountain sanctuary of Delphi to the volcanic caldera of Santorini, this country genuinely never gets old. If you're ready to plan your trip, head to optimizetravel.com, where our team is ready to help you build the perfect itinerary. And let me know in the comments, which of these 11 destinations would you visit first? Are you heading to Athens and Crete, or somewhere unexpected like Nafplio or the Peloponnese? Drop it below. We read every single one. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe. We cover the world's best destinations every week, and we'd love to have you along for the ride.